Again, our fans are the best around, man. Wow. And walking into, the Siegel Center tonight, seeing all the gold out there, everybody supporting our team. I just immediately, my mind went to, we have this picture in the BDC, and it's packed, full of gold in one of our games, and I think it was actually the LSU game, and it's just, I see it every day. And to be a part of that, for our team, for me personally, our staff and the players to be a part of that, it's really, really special. Dayton's tough. They're really tough. They're so well coached, and it was just a rock fight throughout. Really hard fought game for us and for them. First half, I thought our guys did a nice job. They tried to execute, on each play. They understood that each play mattered, throughout that first half, and every time they would come into timeouts, they were engaged and talking about what's getting ready to happen and what's next and what's to come, and really engaged with one another. I think we wanted our depth to be a factor. I'm not sure how much that happened really within the game, if that was a factor or not. I thought they did a really nice job of keeping guys fresh. They probably subbed a little bit more than they typically do. But Holmes is a load. I mean, he's really hard to guard, and when you have shooters around him like he has, it just puts so much more pressure on you, to release and then get back to them. And I thought our guys, fixed some things out there that, could have really hurt us. Several times. We manufactured enough baskets, with, I'll call it suspect, because it really was suspect offense. Like, our offense was not very good, down the stretch. We've got to be better, going forward, to finish games. And we had to rely totally, on our defense, down the stretch. But we were able to get that stop on the last possession, and more than anything, it was a team win for us, a fun game to be a part of, and just more than anything, really happy for, our players and our fans.
Was that your best defensive effort of the season?
Yeah, I'll go back and look at it, but I mean, obviously it was pretty good on both sides, right? I mean, 49-47, I mean, that's a low scoring game. I think the last time I was in a 40s game it was after, the Virginia game. We played Kansas State, and it was similar, it was like, probably ugly for everybody to watch, but at the same time, one team was advancing, in the tournament, and obviously we were able to get a win, so you got to feel good about it. But, you always can learn, regardless of whether the score is 86-85 or 49-47. There's huge plays within the game, that happened. Jason Nelson was awesome. He's had a hard go shooting the basketball, but he's been in the gym every day, just like Kwani was, and stayed ready for his moment. And right away, he came in and gave us a big boost. Right at the end, Toby and Kwani, we missed a couple of shots right around the rim, and then all of a sudden Kwani's kind of, just goes right to the rim and tips that ball in. Toby tips another one in. Like, those baskets really matter in such a tight game. And I thought our guys did a really nice job of staying composed, because when you're playing a game like that and the offense is such a struggle, right? Because we couldn't get in transition because there were fouls pretty much every time, down at the other end, and we were having to fight their pressure. You can tend to get a little antsy, all right, and try to be, just be a little bit too aggressive. And I didn't think our guys did that. I thought they did a nice job just staying the course and not getting frustrated with what was happening, on that side of half court.
Ryan, the guys said they were really confident in the plan defensively coming into this game. Obviously, You guys play Dayton again, so you can't only show your cards to an extent there. But what can you say about what you guys did
they can obviously
schematically
watch it and see,
against them?
Just like we will. I mean, it was a hard-fought game. Again, it's really hard, to guard him on the block, and he's not just on the block.
Yeah.
I mean, he's moving around all over the place. So he's inside, he's outside, and so it's hard to account for all of that because you don't really know where he's going to be. And then they've got guys that can penetrate, and then they've got guys that can shoot. And so that's why their offense is, one of the best statistically in the country. And, tonight our guys did a nice job of taking up for one another and trying to keep them off balance as best we could. We had enough fouls to work with and didn't lose anybody, in the game. And I thought even times when, they went big, Bell was huge. Bell guarded him for a minute. We're just trying to save as many baskets as we could to give ourselves a chance.
Take us through that last defensive stop and how, if at all, the preceding few minutes impacted
Yeah,
the plan.
I think we'd stopped them on the last two, I think maybe before that, and I think it was, it was one of those where it's, hey, this is it, like we're right where we're going to be, and so it's up to us right now to get it done and not be passive. We've got to be aggressive. Sean was on the money, coming over there to make that shot a little harder than maybe it would have been had he not. We talked in the timeout about sometimes they'll use him, as a decoy to then, bring, Brea off for shots. And you've seen him do that before. But, obviously, he was getting fouled, quite a bit. And so, they went with him, off the bounce, against our guys. But, just proud we were able to get that last stop and escape with a W.
Coach, to start off the season, your first game here at VCU, you lost. You lost to
Are you
McNeese
bringing
State.
that up right now?
How huge is this win for you and your program here? And how does it speak to how far you've come as a program?
Yeah, I think, this is a different team, than started the year, right? And, we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace there, right? Because, we started with a team that, thought we were going to have, right? Sean's out there, Joe's out there. We're thinking it's, that's what we practiced with all summer over to Greece, and then we come back and we begin to get going, and Sean breaks his foot, and Joe's not able to play, and so it changes things drastically. And so, all we tried to do with our guys, was, keep the faith, keep working, keep getting better, with the hope eventually Sean we knew was coming back. Joe, we weren't quite sure, and then obviously that was a blessing to have him, be able to play in games for us. And started slow in the conference, and that's natural. When you all of a sudden insert new folks in, there's a risk that it can get worse before it gets better. And I think what you're seeing right now is you see a team that is bought in, right, to each other, to one another. They're bought into winning for VCU and doing their part to try to win, night in and night out. And they understand how hard they have to play on both sides of the ball, and more specifically on the defensive side of the ball, to give themselves a chance. And everybody's held accountable to that. And I think they hold one another accountable every day in practice. They understand their roles better, right? And Jason stepped up in a huge way. Zeb's out, and then all of a sudden Sean's out again. Even in the middle of conference, stepped up huge. And then tonight he was big, right? His threes were huge for us. We needed those baskets. And so the sacrifice that you see, from this team is really special. Now we got to keep it going. We got to keep it going.
Coach, you guys, not beyond just the buy-in, you had to rebuild a roster when you got here. And then throughout the season, you've had injuries and eligibility. So beyond just the buy-in, how helpful has it been for the staff and for the players to just know who does what? You know what I mean? Like, obviously they have to play hard and all that, but you have to know what you have.
Yeah,
so
of course.
How much easier is it now to game plan knowing these guys do this together, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, it's winning a basketball game or any game, it's way more complicated than just playing hard, right? You have to marry yourself, to the execution, and that's on both sides of the ball. And you saw some execution from both teams from a defensive perspective that made it really hard on the other team. And you saw some execution on offense where some baskets were made. And, I think our guys have, I hate to ever say figured out, because you don't ever have anything figured out. People throw different things at you, and you have to adjust. But our guys have understand, how important execution is, to the results. That the execution ultimately gets you to the results, that happen night in and night out. And, they understand how to prep for a game, right? They understand how to listen and learn. This is the best team I've ever been a part of, in terms of focusing in film, all right, and really locking in on what we need to try to do to give ourselves the best chance to win. And then offensively, they trust one another, and we can still get better with that, as the season goes on. But, proud of where we're at right now, but, there's certainly a lot more games to play. And, our guys have earned 2 days off, and we've got to get, have a great week next week and improve. This is our last chance to kind of get them a little bit better, heading into the stretch run.
Do a couple more.
Coach, what was the message to your team during the second half due to the lack of foul calls in the first half and them and the referees calling more fouls in the second half?
You just have to adjust. You have to adjust to what's happening. And maybe it was a little more physical in the first half. It tightened up a little bit, in the second half. And, you have to just stay the course, right? And understand, okay, why was this foul happening? I can't get locked in a battle when he's 14 feet away from the basket. I just got to keep fighting. Maybe I can put more pressure on the ball. Like, it all works together. And, it's being present, it's being poised, in those moments. And I alluded to that, earlier. So, some teams get whacked out with that, right? All of a sudden it's foul, and it takes you out of your game. But our guys, stayed right with it and, began to get the necessary stops that they needed in order to close it out.
Coach, when a team has basically an All-American level 5-man, you got to throw some double teams at them. But how terrifying is it against a team like Dayton? They're the 8th best three-point shooting team in the country. Just knowing, hey, we're gonna have to throw some doubles at them, but just how did you guys attack that?
Yeah, we just tried to keep them off balance as best we could, and we didn't go every time. There were some times where we didn't go, and we just tried to continue to help when needed and get there and get it out of his hands when we felt the time was right. But again, it's not just about the block. They're moving him around out top, and he's driving the ball, and so that's a little bit different. And so we tried to, do a better job of, just putting a little bit more pressure on him so he couldn't quickly make those passes out. If you can slow those passes a little bit, then you have a better chance of recovery.
Ryan, you guys have a difficult back end of the schedule, but you've also beaten the 3 teams around you at the top of the conference now. How much confidence does that give this group to have beaten the other teams competing for an A-10 title with you?
Yeah, certainly. You could look at it that way, but I think it's every team right now is just going through it, right? It's just one game, right? These are one game, little championship games that you're trying to play, every time that you step on the court. And I feel good about this team right now. It's won at home. It's figured out how to win here. It's figured out how to win, on the road in some tight situations. And so we just got to keep playing. We just got to keep trying to get a little bit better, as we, keep going forward.
Ever win a game where you didn't score in the last 5 minutes?
What's that?
Ever win a game where you didn't score?
Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. You're not gonna win many, but we did tonight. So you had one. What was it?
I was gonna say, you guys did score in the last 5 minutes, and what does that say about the kind of resolve this team has to win a game like that down the stretch?
You just got to figure it out, right? We were still winning at that point, right? So you keep looking up at the scoreboard. We just got to get it done, And we had some chances. Obviously, Toby missed a couple of free throws, so we did something right, to get fouled on offense there. But it's rare that it ever happens that way. Right, and we had some ball, one time we almost got the rebound and Joe off the foot, right? We're getting ready to go, and then Max walks coming up the court. It was some weird stuff, that happened on offense for us. But, just again, happy for the guys, but they're focused on what's next. Anything else? All right,
Thank you, Ryan.
We'll have Anthony Granton here shortly.